Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another iCarly reboot, revival, or probably gonna call it iCarly 2021 episode review for you guys. And this is episode 4 review. Like I said, I would be back next Thursday to talk iCarly. I'm not gonna spend too much like I do in my other reviews on the channel in terms of anything else I watch. So this is kind of just not gonna be in depth, but I'm just gonna talk about some things that I guess you could say were entertaining, some things that I liked, and maybe some things that I kind of didn't like. I thought this episode was a pretty okay, solid episode. Just your typical iCarly freaking episode we've seen before. It's kind of centered around Carly and Harper in this episode, and we get the typical best friends fight episode where two friends have obviously differences of opinions of what they want. In this episode, it's clearly Carly's trying to get ready for the Seattle Fashion Fest, but the only problem is she needs to find out a dress, and she's like, all these dresses Harper comes out with, it's definitely not working for Carly, and she doesn't feel some sort of way. And then on top of the getting that one boyfriend type of thing, so another failed boyfriend type of character for Carly, which I found it funny out because she has a talk with Spencer in the episode, and she's like, "What's my type?" essentially, and Spencer's like, "Was the guy hot?" And she was like, "Very hot." And essentially, it's like, "Well, that's your type, especially if they're dumb, and stuff like that." And it's funny because Carly's like, "Are you trying to call me shallow?" And Spencer's like, "No, I'm not trying to say that," but in reality, he's kind of saying that she's pretty shallow. She chooses only hot guys instead of a good guy with a good character, despite how they look. But yeah, Carly's dating issues continue. Same as Freddie. We actually start the episode off with Freddie and Spencer looking like they're gonna have, like, I guess, a guys' night out. I think playing a video game or something like that. They get this video game or something in the mail, and then there's obviously this pretty cute looking male chick, and essentially she's kind of hitting on Freddie, and she's like, "Hey, I play this too. You think I could get your number?" And I'm like, "Okay, Freddie, give her your number. You can ask her out, and what else? Maybe you can as well. When you're playing, you can maybe take it somewhere else." Well, hey, look, I'm just gonna say this. It's more mature show now, so I can say these sexual innuendos. But for some dumb reason, even I would not probably do that. But he turns down this chick by just closing the door on her. And Spencer's like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, that's a pretty cute girl, and she's asking to get your number and maybe play some video games with you too." And Freddie's like, "I ain't about that life. My dating life is just terrible, and I don't believe in dating life, and I'm not gonna waste my time with that." So then that's when Spencer comes up with the idea. Is like, "How about this? I try to hook you up with one of my friends named Ramona." Now we later find out in the episode that Ramona saw one picture of Freddie and wants nothing to do with him, which is just like funny. So Spencer, this entire episode, you can essentially say, pays for this lady. Now, at first, I thought it was like rent a girlfriend type of thing. In other words, if you don't know what a rent a girlfriend is, it's kind of a thing in Japan mostly. Hell, there's an anime called Rent a Girlfriend where you rent a girlfriend out for like a number of hours or something like that. Essentially, it's something here. I don't think the United States has something like that. But essentially they classify it as an actress. I call it a rent a girlfriend because, hey, I've watched the anime and it's funny as shit. But Spencer actually thinks he's renting a girlfriend. We later find out in this episode that in reality, it's it's an actress, all right. But he was essentially using a website that kind of hires. I don't know how I could say it, but the things you go on and people who I guess do it for fun in bed and they get recorded to do it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep that PG because I don't think I can say that on YouTube. But you know what I'm talking about. But essentially, Spencer used the wrong website and he got a website just full of what. And stuff, and he's like, oh, that's why the pay was so much. And I'm like, oh brother. Which it was funny because you see when Freddie meets up with the actress, the fact of she's pretending to be Ramona as well as be a very scientific person, and Freddie's just launching over these scientific terms, and she's like, yeah, I definitely know that. Yeah, no, by the end of the episode, essentially I guess they mostly call it off because obviously these types of people have certain times when they're supposed to be on these dates, and Freddie's like, yeah, I didn't feel like we never got a jolt or nothing was working, and plus she always left at weird, obnoxious times and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a nice, interesting. Excuse me, my God, I got the hiccups. It was a pretty funny, interesting side plot storyline going on. That was probably, I guess, one of the things I liked the most about this episode. I'm just gonna like to see Freddie's dating issues, to see how many girls reject him. Eventually, I think I said it last week, that I eventually believe that Carly and Freddie are gonna hook up by the end of this reboot if they're only gonna get one season. I do hope this show gets like maybe 3 seasons at the least, and then the end you just have Carly and Freddie hook up, but it's gonna take some time to get there, I'm guessing. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And then just seeing Spencer in pain with all where they did the montage in the episode where Spencer's in pain because he's paying so much money out of his wallet for Freddie. I'm like, good God, man. Eventually I would have to substance into my friend and be like, no, this is too much. And it's funny because even before that, he's trying to get her off from doing it, and he's like, dating can be really expensive. And then the moment he gets a text message through his phone from the actress saying like, yeah, I have a date, so pay me the money. And I'm like, wow, that sucks. We also find out in this universe there is Housewives of Wisconsin. Yeah. Now I don't watch any of those drama reality like shows. But if you're really going to do something from Wisconsin, you really are dull. And if you're watching this from Wisconsin, I'm sorry. All you got out there is the Packers and cheese. And second thing, I hate the Packers, but I love cheese. Anyways, yeah, but like I said, this episode was kind of just the best friend fight episode where Carly and Harper come to blows with each other because they have differences and they get into an argument. Carly just gets sick of the fact that, hey, none of the dresses are kind of her type and they're not working and stuff like that. So it makes it to the point they get into a fight. Harper's not being very much doesn't like the fact that Carly is being much appreciative of her time. The fact that, hey, not only this is big for you, it's kind of big for me because if you go out there with one of my dresses, I get the publicity out there for one of my products. Because remember, we know Harper wants to be a professional stylist. So I guess you can say this is kind of the thing to try to get something out of the world. I know watching a lot of reviews last week, a lot of people said, what they were kind of a little bit of, I guess, turned off by with iCarly is that, we had seen Carly needs to I guess rebuild her brand up to get back to what she used to be. Especially in a world where now there's bigger, internet stars and stuff like that. I definitely did wish they did take that. I forgot to mention that last week. I really did wish they did the coming of age get back to prominence with Carly. But it seems like they're just going with the route that, she's been doing this the entire time and her fans have just been loyal. So I guess you can say Harper trying to get her name out there with these Fashion Fest. It's something that's trying to get the name out there and stuff like that. Again, I'm still waiting for that one part where it's like, okay, I want to do something to increase my brand. Like, I'm high enough, but I want to get higher and increase myself. There was no iCarly skits in this episode. It was just kind of that. We did find out how Harper and Carly essentially became best buddies and stuff like that. And I like the whole gag with their whole short-term things. Like, we find out that freaking Harper's like Carly's best friend since Sam, which was hilarious. And it's funny because they make this ongoing joke that Harper's gonna leave Carly if her cousin resurfaces. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? So yeah. Millicent, it wasn't really just much in this episode. She was just kind of the character. She walks in and she sees that they're watching, obviously, the reality show, and then by the end, she's into the show, which was funny because they do it where they're portraying the fight on the reality show and relating it at the same time. And the comments Millicent was making was essentially the same type of way that Harper and Carly were going at it with each other and stuff like that. Yeah, so that was the whole thing. Again, like I said, Carly went on another date. The guy was extremely dumb. He's like, is there drawings on here? And I'm like, oh, brother. I'm like, come on. I'm like, Carly, can you actually like date a legit smart guy? I'm like, first episode 1, you try to go out with your first relationship already. You're dumped within seconds of the show. Then the second guy you go out with, he's gargling whatever the hell that shit was, very weirdly. And then the fourth guy she thinks she's going out with from episode 2 was the iCarly hate guy that lied to her and stuff like that. And it seemed like he was actually a pretty decent guy, but then she just dumped him because, oh, you ripped me on the internet. Even though he seemed like he was getting his life around, it seemed like he actually started to like her and understood where she was coming from. So, and now this guy. So we're already 4 episodes in, and Carly has already equaled the total amount of guys she's, I guess, been on a date and just dumped from the spot. So, great progress. Let's see if she can make more and then dump more characters. But yeah, the end of the episode, Carly and Harper obviously make up. And they kind of do the fashion festival, but the reason why Harper hurries up quickly is because the dress Carly does was a combination of one of her old dress, something like that, and then another combination of one of Harper's dress. But we see that the gown or the dress starts to rip piece by piece every time Carly's walking, and you just have Harper just right there making sure to cover it up as a good friend should. And stuff like that. And that's kind of where the episode ends up. But I thought it was an okay episode. Definitely, I would say it wasn't as good as the first 3 episodes. But it was something still pretty entertaining and pretty funny to get a few laughs out of you. But yeah, other than that, I'm good. Oh yes, and then Carly also drops another B word reference again. Even though she said that she was never going to use the B word again, she dropped. Well, let me just say, she said bitch again in this episode. So, funny stuff. So I just envision we're going to have a lot more. Again, I like the fact that this show is very mature. They're not being very stray because they hinted, obviously, what they did in the freaking who Spencer hired to do all the stuff with Thing. I think they made a do it reference. Carly says a cuss word. Harper says the same exact word too. And yeah, other than that, I'm enjoying this. Can't wait to see you for next Thursday. But yeah, thought this episode was okay, but it's fine for what it was. Just a nice, good watch. Other than that, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the rest of your day, and hopefully, you guys like this video. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of iCarly. Anything that you feel that iCarly could do better. In its reboot of the show. Oh, I almost forgot. To say I was actually speaking of this on my own time. Also, if you guys didn't know, actually, well, obviously you watched the show to know, but after episode 1, they shortened the intro, the main iCarly theme, and then to be honest, I'm actually pretty pissed off and actually pretty disappointed. One, we all know how much the fan base of iCarly loves the iCarly main theme. So I don't know why Paramount Plus shortened it. Obviously, the reason why they shortened the opening is to save more time for the episode, because I think you're only allowed for these streaming services to have a certain amount of, time for these episodes. But I really do hate when they shorten openings. Like, for example, when I watch my anime, especially on Toonami, it doesn't matter what anime it is. They always shorten the opening to save time for the episode. Otherwise, it might go over the time slot point, because, hey, these openings can get long and stuff to this point. But I thought with streaming services, I thought they were cool with that. I really don't like the fact that they trimmed down the opening, because I like to sing the opening in its entirety. Now, you could probably say, well, if you like the opening so much, go watch the opening all over YouTube and just listen to it over and over again. I just rather be in the motion of just singing the entire opening. I don't know why. Listen, when I first heard it, when I watched episode 2 after watching episode 1, it kind of irked me a bit. It's going to get some time to get used to, but it still kind of does irk me, the fact that they shortened the iCarly theme. But hey, it's fine. So it is what it is. Listen, you still get it regardless, so you can sing it a bit, but whatever. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Hopefully, you guys have a great rest of your day or night when checking out this video. Until then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. Peace.